Well, good morning, folks. How are you? I always like to wait until there's at least 1,000 people listening. It's not arrogance, it's just a matter of value. If you would be so kind, if you could send me a tweet or a post directly stating that you guys can hear me, just simple audio check. Thank you, Dan. Just want to get a couple more just to make sure. OA exclamation. Okay. Just one more. Forks and chill. Thank you so much. All right. So I want to apologize right away. I'm battling seasonal allergies. So I'm going to have a shortened, and usually I can go for hours and hours and hours. Okay. But I don't have that today. I just wanted to touch base with you, kind of like encourage you just for a little while. And I don't know how long I'll talk. I'm going to leave it up to my voice. So if you probably heard in the recent recordings I've done on my YouTube channel, I sound a little bit hoarse, and I've been upset because I lost my Bailey. So I'm over it now. The Lord's comforted me. I know I'll see her again. But I want to talk a little bit about the departure from classical analysis concepts. I know a lot of you guys out there that like to poke fun at me or try to get some kind of drama started, or just simply put misinformation out there. You'll say that my concepts are rebranded this and rebranded that, but none of you ever come out with source material showing where it came from as I teach it. So while I could sit here and have a great deal of fun doing that, that's not the point of the discussion today. I wanted to kind of like touch on the basis of what I covered in the last 2 weeks and how that should resonate with you as an analyst. How I focused on one principle of many that I have, but I get a lot of questions by way of posts that you don't see in my comments on my YouTube channel, because the majority of them are held. Because there's a lot of garbage being promoted, crypto this and crypto that, and scammers and whatnot, and a lot of people pretending to be. It's far easier for me to just read your comments in private. And yes, I get an occasional troll or somebody saying something that's meant to tear me down, whatever, and it makes me smile. But largely, I get a lot of questions about how do I pick certain PD arrays at the right time? And when I'm talking to you publicly, I'll call things into your attention, say, look at this, pay attention to that. Well, that's how I learned it. I learned it being prompted that way. Look here, look here, look here, look here. And not by somebody on the earth, but I had a helper inside, and that's who guided me. So what I like to do is find ways where I can closely bridge that gap. Now, I can't completely bridge it, obviously, because I have my own limitations as a man. But I strived over my life to come up with a language that hopefully could bridge the gap as close as I can for my children. So you all get to dabble in my life's work that I'm leaving for my children. Should I ever depart and leave them behind, they have a plethora, an entire library where dad's talking to them. And that connection you pick up on, you tap into that because it's sincere, it's genuine. It's not contrived, it's not made up, it's not trying to, make something that it isn't. It's genuine. My children watched me, build this entire, phenomenon, firsthand, walking in the home with me, seeing me, and working very hard to try to make a language to be able to communicate what these markets are actually reaching for, when they're reaching for them, what to expect, what not to expect, when not to do something. All these protocols and processes and procedures. And largely that goes untaught when you view classical analysis concepts. And when I say classical, I mean, for instance, Technical Analysis of the Financial Markets by John Murphy. Every trader on the planet should have that book, not because it's a good trading book. I fade 99% of the things in that book. I stand in front of the logic of what's in that book because it is specifically like a roadmap for retail logic and thinking. Now, I know some of you are stochastics traders, moving average crossover guys, pivot traders. You trade Elliott Wave, you got pitchforks, you got supply and demand. You got all the things that you subscribe to. I'm not here to bash any of that. Okay. That's not what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to do is challenge you in thinking about how some of the things I've shared should hopefully broaden your understanding about what price is actually trying to do. Because as I mentioned very facetiously over the years, many, many times, that with all the things that are available in trading in terms of analysis concepts, retail logic, people coming up with all kinds of little bells and whistles and indicators and whatnot, if the markets absolutely follow that stuff, the question I always pose to those who subscribe to that view, and I used to subscribe to that. Believe me, I started just like all of you that started with that stuff. At 20 years old, I believed that the stochastics and the RSI and the Williams percent R and the moving average, that was the keys to the kingdom. All I had to do is have the right settings, and it became a pursuit like the lottery numbers. I had to get the right numbers. And you fool yourself into thinking that you'll figure that part out eventually if you keep doing it. But it's a fool's errand, meaning that you keep trying to do something expecting a different result, but you go insane because you never reach that. You'll never reach that. There is no perfect settings because the market's always shifting and changing. It's changing its mode of volatility. It's changing the trend. It's changing its characteristic from a trending environment to a range bound where it's not really meant to be traded with a long-term hold position or a swing trader's perception. It's simply in a holding pattern, and it's grinding traders down because they want to pursue or participate in a prolonged trending market move. I started as a trader like that. I wanted to be a position trader. And I used a lot of the old school, still believed upon today. Everybody that comes in the marketplace today as a new trader invariably will come through one avenue or stream of some kind of retail stuff. And I'm of the belief that anything, even flipping a quarter, heads you buy, tails you're shorting, and then you have a filter of how many times you can take a trade and how often you can take a trade with only one instrument, that means one market, and one particular time where you can only operate in these specific hours. If you operate with a very strict, impeccable risk management model, I believe that can be profitable. And if you missed that, if it went over your head, you rewind the recording when it's available to you. Okay. Also, I almost forgot to mention this. I know there's a lot of you that take these recordings and you put them on your YouTube channel, and you have my blessing to do that. I don't care. But if you do it, I don't know what I'm doing on YouTube when I'm setting the settings for like apparently they've done something where my videos and other people that are YouTubers, you can listen to other languages, like I'm talking in a different language, but it's not my voice. I don't know how I'm doing that, if I'm doing it ever. I know I saw one video do that, but I don't know what I'm doing settings wise to do that. So if you're one that puts these types of Twitter spaces on your YouTube channel, leave the link underneath it and set it so anybody can listen to their language, because that's the biggest complaint I get. They want to listen to me talking live, like there's some kind of benefit to that. It's okay that you're not here live. It's still the same thing I'm talking, whether you listen to it 3 weeks from now or a year from now. The information is still good. It's pertinent. But I don't know. I don't know how to make those YouTube channels do that. So I'm not doing anything different when I set my settings on my YouTube channel. In fact, I just reuse the previous videos data. It has the risk disclaimers always in the description, and I just simply change the title. I'm not doing anything different, but some of my videos are doing it, and the majority of them don't. And it's not because I don't want you to have the ability to listen to me. I just don't know what I'm doing in regards to making it happen. So if you know how to do that and you can do it very short, post to me in X, that'd be wonderful. But I started with very rudimentary ideas, simply using a stochastic momentum indicator. It would tell me if I'm overbought or oversold. You know, a moving average, 50-day moving average is a simple moving average at first, and I've shifted to an exponential because I thought it was more sensitive. And I learned over the years that that really isn't all that important. I had moving averages for crossovers, and I trusted that as the trend. And as long as the moving average, 50-day moving average, and the 9 and 18 moving averages were, sloping up, or they call it stacking, then I had a buying opportunity. All I had to do was wait for a bullish divergence in stochastics. And I used a hourly chart to do that. And when the market is predisposed to go higher, that model still works today. It's very, very simple. But because I don't have an affinity for trading with indicators, and I know now because the market doesn't really follow that logic. And as I mentioned earlier, and I didn't get to the point because I got distracted by mentioning other things, the posing question that pops up, if I come into a conversation, or if I instigate a conversation, which I've done in the past regarding to retail logic, the question is this: if the markets are absolutely turning on a dime, timing their beginning and end on price runs, and they're doing it on the sole basis of retail concepts, it falls on its face on a logic stance, because all of the retail concepts do not agree. You see this misnomer where people have argued with me saying there is no algorithm, and I'm rebranding things. And now, because they're losing this war against me, now they're coming to this argument. They're saying, well, honestly, we're really all trading the same thing. If you really break it down, we're all trading the same thing. And I'm going to submit to you that that is absolute lies, because all of these people that are saying that don't have precision entries. They don't have precision draws on liquidity where it turns to the dime. They are not telling you when it's going to occur. They have no respect or understanding of the element of time. They have no element of time understood in their analysis. Their element of time is I'm in front of the chart, so therefore it's time to trade. That's the logic that a gambler uses when they go to a casino. Well, it's time to get up. I've had my dinner comped to me by the casino. My room's comped. I'm feeling lucky. Let me get down here. I took $1,000 with me, and then you go home without it because it was time to gamble. I don't think that way. I don't teach my students to think that way. There is a operating time, okay? A time that a market mechanic sits down and says to themselves, probabilities are high right now that there will be a obvious price run after some measure of manipulation or liquidity. And then simply looking for that opposing liquidity and finding in between those two reference points the myriad of PD arrays that I've offered to you as a language where you can just simply go in. Not every PD array is going to exist in every price run. So that's why it's beneficial for you to study like my 2016 mentorship month 4 content. It's on YouTube channel. It's simply this introduction to how you can incorporate a good sampling of my PD arrays, the very simple approaches to saying, okay, I can see this is an area where I can get into the move that's already started because you weren't apt enough, astute enough, or in front of the charts at that time to participate in that move, to get in at that particular price. Now, my school of thought that I try to impose upon you is you don't need the best entry. Now, I illustrate it. My students that have been with me for a while, they can illustrate it consistently. So there's a transfer of knowledge there. But you don't, if you're learning, you don't need to have that perfect entry, that perfect lowest low entry, the turtle soup low or the turtle soup high. You don't need that. I've mentioned, and even when I was teaching the paid mentorship stuff, I said that that is the highest form of trading. when you're trading at the highs of a false breakout and getting short right there, because it takes a great deal of conviction. You're out there in open space where there's no safety net. You have to have a strong conviction about this was absolutely fake. And the easiest way to determine that with a consistent that will repeat is only trying to look for those when you're brand new. Look for those types of setups when the market's bearish. And you'll see that those types of ideas, false breakouts or buy side liquidity when the market's bearish, it's easier to take those trades and you'll grow into that over time. The most difficult trades for me as ICT is when the market's primarily bullish and it's in a strong bull market, and selling short a false break above buy side liquidity. If I really push the envelope of participation, I will have more losing trades in that environment if I'm using that model. So I don't use that model in those environments. But I do have some tricks up my sleeve, and I just showed them this week and whatnot, about where I can see the large shift in probabilities in my favor that were near a high. Now, that's not like guessing, okay, the market might go to this level here before you start looking for shorts. That's a guess. That's a guess. There has to be something else besides just simply tossing it out there in the ether. And then if it happens, you cheer yourself, say, look how smart I am. Look at me. And it pales in comparison to what I'm showcasing the last 2 weeks, where every quadrant is nailing the highs and the lows. Just like that, over and over and over again, Daddy. Just like that, over and over and over. Not luck. Oh, no, no, no. Luck has no part in the conversation here. This is technical science. We have left, okay? We have left classical analysis concepts in the past. We have evolved. In the last couple months, I've had people send me things by way of email, mailing me things. And by the way, Dan, thank you for the shirt and the mug and all the letters I got. It's too many. Actually, too many. I know some of you want to see me like take a picture of what you sent me and to kind of like confirm that you got something and you mail it to me. I get so much stuff. I have things I haven't even opened up yet. I have a garage that literally is piling up where I don't have space for this stuff. So I don't want to just simply throw it away, because I think it was rude if I did that. But I asked you before, please don't send me stuff. I don't need gifts. I'm not asking for that stuff. I just don't have the time to get to everything. But I know that when folks send me messages, or they'll send me comments, or they'll leave comments, or they'll mail me letters that are very, very long, and I do my best to try to read them, but I can't sit down and respond with something equal to that. Like I don't have the time to do that. And saying that, I know if it's somebody that you're listening and you sent me something like that and you're expecting that type of response by me, that might sound like I'm just brushing you off or kind of like dismissing you. It's just I don't have literally the time in the day to be able to do that to everybody that sends me things or sends me emails. Like I just simply don't have that time. When I was a smaller guy where my influence wasn't so prominent, I replied to everybody because I felt that was my duty. If you're going to take the time to send something to me, write me a question or an essay about something, I would take the time to read it, contemplate on it, and respond to it. I don't have that luxury anymore. And admittedly, I kind of missed that because it was an intimacy level that I had with the students that is kind of like escaped me. And it's simply because of the sheer number of all of you that are interested in what I'm doing and what I've taught. But we have left all classical analysis concepts. And I have seen things sent to me where there's a lot of people out there teaching my things now. And like, for instance, as a young man that's on YouTube putting out ads and stuff, and he'll say, what we do is we look for a box area. Well, you know what that is. That's my favorite area gap. But he can't say that because he's selling something that people can just simply go to my YouTube channel or follow me on X and get it for free. So I'm not trying to make anybody upset or trying to take your meal ticket from you. I don't care. My back is strong enough to carry every one of you. Okay. I always will have new lecture points. I will always have new PD arrays and applications. I will never run out of things. But we have to agree that there has been a shift in the marketplace and what people use in trading. And I have been well, I've been so, wow, I'm literally at a loss for words here to say it the right way. I'm honored, I'm humbled that so many around the world are implementing what God has given me. And it's been such a privilege to be able to share this with everyone. Because when I was a younger man, when I started seeing just how good this was, I contemplated not listening to God and holding it to myself and saying, this is too good. Like, this is too good to share. Like Larry Williams said one time, he was doing a keynote speaker address for short-term trading. And it was an old VHS tape that I bought down in Trader's Library in Columbia, Maryland. And just because it had his name on it, I bought it. I had no idea what he was going to talk about. And honestly, the video really wasn't all that great, but because he was my hero, and technically still is. I mean, I love the guy. I don't trade anything like him, but I just simply have an affinity for him that I always will. And I guess it's the same way a lot of you feel towards me. And that's cool. I get it. Don't get me wrong, I get it. But I don't see many things in this video that was useful except for one of the members of the discussion, or he was doing whatnot, asked him, can you release some of the stuff that you trade in a book? Because he was covering some kind of setups where he just commonly, talked about it in brush ideas, vocabulary, very simple, nothing artistic about it, nothing complex, no technical science involved. If today's open or today's close was higher than 2 days ago, then he's going to short 20% of the daily range yesterday. And that's kind of like what he was talking about. And I have never been a fan of that. Like, I've never been a fan of it. I mean, he could show he's made millions of dollars doing that. To me, it made no sense. And still to this day, it makes no sense to me. It's just something as a catalyst, which is no different than every retail concept out there. It's overbought, so therefore it must go higher. Wrong. I lost lots of money. I lost fortunes buying oversold conditions in RSI and bullish divergence after bullish divergence. And I did not understand as a 20-year-old that the market was simply going lower. I completely resisted it. I was in denial. I said, no, it's oversold. Every time these two lines go below that level, it makes a short-term low. Even if it only goes up a little bit, I could probably make a little bit of money. And I argued with myself. I reasoned with myself that these archaic principles, which is retail concepts, is going to finally work in my hands if I just keep sticking to it. And I stuck to it until the accounts were blown. What changed? What changed in my perception about price action? I stopped demanding that I had to be right about what I thought was going to happen. And that's a very, very expensive lesson. It's very expensive because it requires you to lay down your presuppositions about what you think the market's going to do because of your ego or your fear. Those two things right there are in the way of everything that you're trying to do. Not me hiding something, not teaching you, perfectly or short, straight to the point. I'm doing lectures like that right now, and I'm still getting complaints. Still getting complaints. I'm going right to the point, just like that. The charts are made up for you. Annotations are explained in detail. I'm doing all of the annotations that you would be expected to do to show you that this is what you should have been doing all along. And this is the bare minimum approach of doing it. If you're really being diligent about it, you're going to have multiple time frames and you're doing the same thing. That's why I teach you to have one pet market. Be a specialist. And I learned that from Larry Williams, but I didn't get to the point I was saying. The guy said, can you put all this stuff that you use to make a lot of your money in a book? And he said, it's too good for the book. This stuff's too good for a book. And that's what I felt. That's what I felt in 1998 when I had 1,000 people in my internet relay chat room that were literally sitting there with a check or a credit card in hand, ready to give me whatever I asked for. And I didn't want to do it because it was too good to share. I had students. I had students literally coming to my home on Monday nights. Think about that. You all want that experience, right? I would literally order pizza. We would watch wrestling afterwards, but I would teach them, I'd coach them. And I loved it. And even then, in the pit of my stomach, this gnawing little voice saying, and it wasn't God, obviously, it was Satan, but he was saying, this is too good to tell them. Don't tell them. It's yours. Keep it. There's nothing wrong with being selfish. And there, in the beginning, I tried to be selfish with it. And you know what happened? It stopped working in my hands. Not because they changed the algorithm, not because I didn't know how to trade, but because I wasn't doing what it was supposed to be done once it was given to me. And I also stopped understanding and knew things were not given to me. So I had to have a paradigm shift. I had to discover who I really was and lay down selfishness, lay down, it's all about me, it's all about me, it's all about me. And that's what young guys, like most of everyone out there right now, and most of my community is made up of young men that simply just want to be the bad version of ICT. You know, the smack talking, the Stone Cold Steve Austin of trading, that kind of guy, which isn't really who I am. That's not who I am. I'm not the bipolar guy. I'm not the angry guy. I'm not the person that's always looking for something to drum up drama with. But I've done all those things in the past that garner attention because I knew if I got you here long enough to listen, I'd hook you for life. Because I know how these markets work. I know how they book. I know how they're going to book in perpetuity. They're not going to change the way they've been doing this. Before electronic trading existed, a group of men sat there and they manipulated the markets just like this. It wasn't as perfect. It wasn't to the tick all the time, but it was generally the same principles of market making. And listen, I understand that not all of you and your favorite mentor is going to hear something like that. You'll take a sound clip and say, listen to this guy. It's been happening in the past before. But none of these champions ever came here to debunk what it was because I can call it live. They won't do that. They won't be able to tell you right to the tick. I got my students that can do it. I can literally just take a step back and say, here's two of my top students right now. And they can simply just do what they learned from me and cancel all the arguments. But when I step out here, what I'm trying to showcase is control. Number one, self-control, and control over your expectations about when you should be participating in the marketplace. It was wonderful not doing anything with trading, nothing for a couple months, nothing with social media. I detoxed. I feel like I'm a different person right now. I feel grounded. I feel ready to be a grandfather. I feel ready to pursue the next chapters in my life. And my health has never been as good as it is right now. Like my resting heart rate is 55. My blood pressure is 110/60. I sleep 6 to 8 hours a night now. And I spent my entire life doing 4 hours on, be up for a little while, 4 hours again, and wherever I needed a nap, I'd do it. But in my 50s, something shifted, something changed. And I had to make changes. Well, that's the same thing you're going to have. You hear my puppy Scout in the background snoring. She's letting everybody know she's here. You're going to have these shifts in your development as a trader. And sometimes You might have, for instance, it might be a specific approach that you learned from me, but somehow something's changing in you, and it's called growth, really what it is. But you may be feeling like you're outgrowing it, or you need a new twist or tweak of it. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Explore other things, other PD arrays, because it'll make you a well-rounded trader. For instance, take a look at what we've done over the last 2 weeks. I've spoke about a concept that I learned was very difficult when I was coming up. When the stock market and the index averages were making all-time highs, nobody knew what to do with it. We were all trying to sell short. We were all expecting the market to crash. Man, this thing's got to crash. It's been going up and going up and going up all through the 90s. We had that little bit of a blip in 2000 Y2K scare, which was really one of the biggest buying opportunities. But I was in there feeling fear and trepidation, because what if it really did happen? What if all the computers simply just turn off everything? The market's going to open up, 1,000 points lower. It's going to be terrible. It's going to be horrible, because I had an infantile understanding about the marketplace. I don't have that now. A lot of you don't have that now, because you've experienced seeing the market through the lens of someone with over 30 years of experience seeing things. I've saw market crashes. I've seen the tech bubble. I've seen everything. I've seen all of it. Now we all learned through a pandemic, scamdemic, fake stuff that they're all trying to keep you distracted from what they just did to us in 2020 and a couple years through that. All these things I told you in private mentorship that you laughed at me and said these things were never going to happen. I told you beef prices were going to be so astronomically overpriced. You got to prepare for all that stuff. I told you everything was going to be expensive. I told you the metal market was going to go through the roof. There it is. It's happened. And I'm telling you, it's going to get worse. And if you don't buckle down and take this serious, you're going to miss the opportunity to breadwin when you're going to need it. As long as the markets are available to us, and I believe there's a time coming when we won't be able to do that. Over in UK, they have an idea they're trying to push, digital ID. You can't work unless you get this, and they're trying to push to get through their parliament, their time in parliament. You know what that sounds like to me? Revelation chapter 13. Unless you have the mark, you can't buy or sell, which means you can't eat. You don't think it's going to be easy or difficult for them to say, you have to have these things, these documents, this mode of identification for you to participate in speculation in the marketplace. If I'm still here and that happens, I won't be trading. I'm okay. I'm okay with it. I've done enough. But maybe you haven't done enough yet. So it's a call to action. It's a call to stir you up, to be diligent about this. It doesn't mean get out there and start betting heavy, putting everything on trades and try to win the lottery type windfall. It means that you have to take it serious. Keep what you have. Don't risk too much. Using things that I've taught, and hopefully, and I see a lot of these comments all the time in X replies to me and email. I get tons and tons of emails. Can you teach about trade psychology or psychology in a broad scope? Every time I'm talking, that's what I'm doing. And that's why a lot of the younger folks simply don't want to listen. They say, you go on, you rant too much. And when I see that, I delete you. Like I will never, you'll see your post appear in my stuff, but I'm never reading you again. Because what you're showing me is that you're someone that feels entitled. You think you know how to learn and should be taught. Then if you want to be the teacher, teach yourself. Be self-taught. Don't come to me. Don't come to anybody. You're smart enough to figure it out on your own. That's what you're saying when you say things like that. And you're proving that you're impatient. And I'm telling you, if you have those characteristics, you're going to fail. That's an absolute guaranteed model of future failure. And it will tend to repeat because you won't see what you're doing is wrong. You're just going to keep doing it until you figure it out. And you take out your frustrations on people like me that want to spend our time for free, building you up, edifying you, encouraging you, showing you what works and proving that it works, like Swiss timepiece precision. And it costs you nothing but 15 to 18 minutes to listen to a video. And when you do it twice the speed, hey, you can get me telling you how to do in 9 minutes now. And you're getting PDFs made for you. Yeah, leaving the ideas of classical analysis and showcasing the elements of inefficiencies through the wicks. That's what we've been focusing on the last 2 weeks. And by having this focus on it, it has hopefully put a spotlight on how you as a developing student of price action, you as someone that's studying my life's work and smart money concepts, finding the continuity that's available and specifically aiming for very particular PD arrays because they form around these quadrants. When we grade these inefficiencies, buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency, sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency, BISI, CIBI, fair value gaps, and we had the same perspective applied to a candlestick wick, above or below the candlestick body. When we have that, what you're looking at is the reference points that the algorithm is going to go to. It's not the number of orders that depth of market level 2 data. It has an absolute. Listen, test it. Prove to see whether I'm telling you the truth or not. This has always been the challenge. I've come out here and tell you all the time. Spend some time with what I'm teaching you and see if it isn't how it works. See if it doesn't hold up better than anything else. See if it isn't the closest thing to perfection you can ever find in market analysis concepts. See, retail, you have a plethora of things that don't even agree. But the common consensus is this is why the markets go up and down. It's always doing the same thing. It's support and resistance. Really? Because I make a mockery of support and resistance. I literally make a joke out of that. You don't know what high and low to use. None of these books teach you to do that, but they have the perfect example in hindsight. And here's good old ICT coming out here. Mild-mannered, middle-aged man. Some of you might argue that's not middle-aged, is it? But I'm middle-aged, baby. Here's what the market's really going to do. And we sit back and we wait and we watch and it delivers. I'm not out here beating my chest. I'm not here grandstanding. I'm not here bragging and boasting. I'm saying, are you paying attention? Are you taking notice of this? Because I had a guy I broomed on X. This is the type of response that literally I block you. Okay, like I don't have any tolerance for stupidity now. I have no tolerance for ignorance. I have no tolerance for the low end, low energy troll. I have no energy for that. I have too much time that I need to apply to other personal things. Like I'm not that ICT anymore. Someone that comes to my profile on X or leaves a comment in my videos, they'll say, you talk about this level and talk about that level, but if the market would have went here, you would have said that level too. And I'm talking specifically in response to, as I called out the discount array or wick on the daily chart. And I said, pay attention, grade it. And it nailed the quadrant. And I mentioned the fair value gap as well that I was trading down to on a daily chart. Go back and look at my post on X. I don't delete anything. If there's a typo, it stays there. It stays there. If I feel like it needs to be amplified, I'll put another post behind it, saying what I really want to say. But honestly, I'm 53 years old now and I'm losing concern about that. I'm relaxing. It's a lot easier for me to sleep at night not worrying about the little details anymore. I've said enough. But the fair value gap with that discount wick and the very specific quadrant, the first one it's going to come to, they agree. And that fair value gap doesn't close entirely. Oh, see, that's what you should have gotten, young man, instead of opening your mouth, talking through ignorance. Because you're frustrated because you want someone to give it to you easy, nice and lubed. No, no, no. When you learn through frustration, impatience, and pain. That's how you learn. I can't remove that from you. That part's always going to be there. The back testing part of it, the journaling, all that stuff is required. And the people that say it's not are the same people that blow accounts over and over and over again, and they beat their chest and say they're the best in the planet. It's foolishness. It's an oxymoron. Look at me not doing what I say I should be able to do, but it's for entertainment and shock value. That's what everyone's paying attention to right now. That's what everyone's looking at right now. They're all being entertained by people that don't know how to do what they say they're supposed to know how to do. And all I'm trying to do is simply remind you in a mild-mannered way, look right here. Pay attention to that. What does it say to you when price is behaving in that area? I called your attention to it. And then I put the little Harry Potter wands pointing up. And it stopped going lower and went straight up from there. Oh, oh, now I get it. I get it. No, you don't. You don't get it. Unless you show up every day, unless you put the work ethic behind it and you really study and you disarm yourself. What's that mean? What's that mean, Michael? Disarm myself. It means that when you sit down and you're studying price action, you're not demanding that it yields to you and your will. So you can go out and say, I knew it was going to go up here. Look, here's my paper trade, or here's the rectangle boxes I show. This is where that trade would have been if I really took one, but it's really not an execution. When you're doing these things and you're putting it on social media, you're encouraging bad habits in yourself. And you're looking to be validated by people like me, which I will never validate anything like that. Look how many times people have done it. I don't ever put a heart behind that stuff because I know it's a false sense of security. What you're experiencing is if you were going to be right about it going higher, and most of you have a double-minded perspective of price. Okay, if I'm wrong, and this is hypothetically you, not everyone, but most of you that are brand new or inexperienced, you'll watch price action. You're looking at your price, and you're saying, okay, I think it's going to go up to this level here because there's a relative equal high, or it's an old high, so I think they're going to go for that liquidity. But if I'm wrong, it's going to go down to this one here. Now, what you've just done is done the very thing that people that try to sow disinformation say that I do. I always tell you what I'm looking for in direction. But I tell you, if I'm wrong, this is what it's going to look like. And I'm okay with that. I've taught you how to disarm yourself, but you have to disarm yourself in a manner like this. I don't need to be right because I'm studying. I don't need to be right because I'm back testing. I don't need to be right because I'm tape reading. I'm not required to be profitable right now because I'm not risking money. Because the internet is chock full of examples of people getting paid out on these funded account companies. And they're showing you, this is how much my payout is. Show me how many times your credit card's been swiped. How many times did you pay out before you got there? Because it's no different to my friends and family members who go to casino and they, oh, I love it when this happens, $32,000 jackpot. But they've been there every weekend for a year and a half, dropping thousands of dollars, and they're in deficit right now. But they put that out there on the internet because it soothes them. It projects winner mentality. Oh, wow, look at this person. Big got it together. They're lucky. And if people can tell them in responses, wow, way to go, good for you, that helps them get through all the money and time they wasted prior to that. So learning properly is disarming yourself, not expecting that reward, that pat on the back. You'll get that because the experience will be building up in you. That's the pat on the back, where you're no longer feeling that insatiable desire to go out there and just press a button because, man, I'm bored. I hate sitting here at this job. This is a dead end job. I'm in class. This professor literally is boring me. I don't want to do this. I'm paying for a college education that I know that it's not what I want to do, but my parents forced me into this. And now I got all these loans stacking up, or I got a scholarship and I don't want to disappoint them. So you're looking for a distraction. So what are you going to do? Euro dollar, baby. Let's go. You're not learning how to do it properly. You're gambling. You're looking for a distraction. And there's a lot of people out there willing to distract you. I'm trying to get you to focus. I'm trying to narrow your focus down to the things that matter most. So that way your learning curve is shortened to the tempo and duration that I believe is practical, but not all of you are willing to listen to it because you have somebody else that's learned from you that's trying to teach you. Somebody else has got a different spin on it. Or they have a conspiracy theory about how I use Andrew's pitchforks in secret, or I use supply and demand and I rebranded it and called it an order block, when none of that logic even holds water. None of the Wyckoff stuff is what I teach. None of it. All these things are meant to discourage you. They're discouraging you. That's all it is. And when I step out here and I try to do my best to say, okay, there's a lot of things I could be talking about. There's a lot of new PD arrays I could be dropping in instilling that new shiny object sensation in all of you, which is a distraction. I'm not trying to distract you. I brought into focus a very specific characteristic in price action that tends to repeat a lot when trading at all-time highs. But I want you to write this down because many of you probably haven't noticed it yet. The fact that I brought your attention to the candlestick premium and discount wicks and grading them at all-time highs, it's not just limited to that. It's always like that. It's always doing that, whether the market's at all-time highs or not. And if you go back and look at my examples of where I'm taking trades and where I'm entering, you're going to see I'm entering on those quadrants. Just like that. Just like that, when the PD array forms at a very specific time. So there's 3 components to this recipe. See, this is the winner's casserole, baby. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. And none of it requires any old, archaic, outdated, ineffective retail logic. No concept of old is being utilized. It's all fresh, piping hot right from the oven of ICT. And this baker never runs out of yeast. Calling the intermediate term high. Every individual daily high and low and key intermediate term swing intraday every day since then, it's right on these quadrants. Right there with the PD array. Think about it, folks. That's not luck. Oh, no, it's not luck. And John Murphy wishes he had chapters with this stuff in it. I guarantee you that book would be a New York bestseller right now if he started putting some good old-fashioned smart money concepts by ICT in there. Everybody be scrambling. Whoo, did you hear about this new book? This new book. This guy, look at him. He's talking about the wicks. Bro, this is the sauce. This is the sauce. Woo, we are here, baby. I'm on a boat, baby. Pack our bags, we're going. That would be it. Everybody would be lit. Because it seems like a disruption. to the status quo. Things have always been this way, but now it's different. What's different? What is different? The language, baby. The language. See, everybody in the winner's circle now, we're all talking the same language. And everybody outside the winner's circle, they're still on Rosetta Stone trying to find that language. They're trying to listen to people that don't quite have the interpretation. So they ad lib and they make up little things, quirky little things. The algorithm's going to do this. The algorithm's going to stop working. This is going to do this. This is going to do that. This is the real this, and this is the real that. Can you set your watch to what they're saying about the marketplace? Because you can do it with mine. I'm just saying. It's not a brag. It's facts. It's not bragging when it's facts. And see, that's the problem, you Generation Z. You have a problem with someone like me because I'm not going to allow you to pretend that you discovered it on your own. I'm not going to allow you to lie and say it's rebranded and repackaged because that's a lie. Everybody's using my concepts the way I taught them. If they were rebranded, everybody would go into a source material and using the logic that's taught in that source material that's apart from me. And because it doesn't exist, they have to speak the way I taught it. That's why you can tell without any time long spent with them, listening to them, you'll know that they learned from me or one of my students, the way they talk. And that is what? The language I created. That language is a way for you to decipher future price action. It's a way for you to learn past price action. So that way, by repetition, just like lifting a weight, you're going to get stronger. Keep doing it. You got to be consistent with it. You can't just work out once a month and think, well, I don't know why I'm getting no results here. Because you're not being consistent. The same reason why people fail at weight loss, the same reason why they fail at becoming fit and tone or muscular or stronger or more flexible is the lack of any measure of consistency. They're inconsistent. The only consistency they have is the consistency of inconsistency. They maintain a consistency that they are not going to show up when they should. Which retail logic is the market going to use this week coming up? I'm doing a poll right now. This is a poll. What retail logic is gold is it going to use this week? Is it going to be Elliott Wave? Is it going to be supply and demand? Is it going to be Wyckoff? Is it going to be Bollinger Bands? What's it going to be? Moon cycles? The planets are shifting. In a couple of weeks, a couple of planets going to be in retrograde, so therefore the market's going to do what? I don't know. It has nothing to do with the planets. But they'll hook you with that if you're stupid. If you're silly and you don't have common sense, every new thing that comes out is going to hook you. Larry Williams had a whole chapter about the phases of the moon. And he put his little full moon and new moon scribbles on his chart and said, look at this. When the full moon does this, or when the market's trading at a full moon or a new moon, the market does this and does that. Okay, go forward with it and do something with it. Well, that's just an observation. So why'd you put it in the book? Filler. He didn't need to have that stuff in that book. And what I'm referring to is the book that he wrote in the 1970s, How I Made $1 Million Trading Commodities Last Year. Everybody should have that book. Because the things that he taught about open interest in there, that still works today. Premium markets versus a carrying charge market. Now, when I say that, see, that they hear that word premium. Oh, see, that's where he learned it from. Premium and discount. Look at that. We got you. We trapped you, ICT. You just gave it up right there. That's one of those Freudian slips. Read the book and you'll see what I'm talking about. That book still holds true today. I swear to you, there has never been another futures commodity trading book that is better than that book. Hands down, never been another book in trading commodities better than that book. And you think, wait a minute, man. You read the reviews and people say, and these are people that are stupid. Okay. And I mean that. They're stupid. They're literally foolish. And you can tell that they're teenagers, okay, or in their early 20s. Oh, this book is so outdated. You know why they say that? Because he's showing you charts from the 1970s. He's showing you examples of this is what he was teaching with. How's he gonna teach? How's he gonna teach? He can't show you a chart until the chart's there. Here's the concept. Here's the principle. But the things he taught in that book still hold true today. They're central tenets to why the commodity market does what it does. But now we're going to take a huge step forward and leave that. Okay? I do not believe that book's reference material should be considered retail logic. That's why I said buy it. That's why I said buy it. Larry, you're welcome, by the way. I get no kickbacks for this as a means of disclosure. I have no affiliates with anyone. I would never have an affiliate with anyone because as soon as my affiliation with someone and they monetize my opinion, then I'm a liar because I could say something that millions of you would go out there and buy because it would benefit me financially. I have nothing like that. I turn down that stuff every single week. See, you don't understand that. You think that, maybe there's a secret affiliate that I'm doing behind the scenes. What am I pushing on you? TradingView asked for it. I said no. All the other brokers out there have asked me. I said no. Other big names in education have asked me to do partnerships with them and pay me. It's always the same. Respectfully, I appreciate that you're willing to offer that to me, but I have been consistent with this my entire time as an educator. I am not going to do that. Why? Why does that matter to me? Because my opinion is genuine and organic then. It's not being purchased. It's not being influenced. If I say something's good, I'm telling you, I believe it from my own experience because I have it, because I bought it, I paid for it. It wasn't given to me. I find value in this. If I'm going to learn from someone, I want their response to my inquiry. I want their time and energy in teaching and conveying an idea or referencing a material or product or service. I want it to be organic. Did you pay for this? Do you pay for this out of your pocket? Or is it being given to you? Are you being rewarded when other people subscribe to it? Because if that happens, it leaves you wondering how much is being influenced by the paycheck on the other side of that. And some of you young folks don't get that part because you just want to get tapped in. You want to plug in. You don't need a lot. But the things that you do need, you have to have a wholehearted faith in what you're dealing with is valuable information or it's a valuable product. And largely, retail concepts are basically BS. They're coincidences. And they don't agree. If the markets worked off of that logic, you would see all of it coming together and agreeing at the same time. And you would see that argument they're now starting to build with my concepts. Well, we can't beat ICT. It's too good, it's too perfect, it's too consistent. Everybody's making the most money using it. Everybody's now teaching it, rebranding my stuff that's supposed to be rebranded something else. Why they can't go out and just use the stuff that I supposedly rebranded? See, I killed the Wyckoff angle. It's destroyed. Just like when I start talking about the order block, it took very little time for me to destroy the supply and demand aspect that people were trying to use there too. We cut through candles. We don't talk about fresh divine, fresh supply zone. Man, that was some fun times. That was fun. I'm gonna be honest with you, that was some fun stuff. But retail logic would all agree if it was based on that. If the markets really worked on that stuff, They would all agree. It would all be what they say. We're all trading the same thing. We're all trading Fibonacci's. We're all trading liquidity. Well, that's funny. That is an interesting observation because I think there's one person, one. I'm looking around over the last 30 years, and there has never been another person talking like the guy shouting to you right now. But we've all been trading this way. Come on, man. Come on. I didn't just step off the boat yesterday, buddy. Okay. This has got to have some credibility applied to it. Where are you getting that from? That's just a new angle. That's just a new angle to discourage you and say, you know what? You're right, ICT, but I'm never going to say it publicly. But we're just going to tap out and say, you know, we're all trading the same things anyway. Well, it's funny because I don't see them getting in there at the consequent encroachment of a fair value gap like I do and use 1.5 handle stop losses and dare the market to hit it and it doesn't. You don't see that. You don't see one 20-year-old kid learning how to talk like me and my profitable, consistent students doing that. Do ya? No, you don't. So don't pretend. Don't bring the rhetoric like you do it, because you don't. You didn't discover anything but me. And some of you are disheartened because you didn't find me soon enough. Just be thankful that you did. Just be thankful. It gets better. It gets better. There's no upsell. There's no mentorship to swipe a credit card for. And I don't lose interest in teaching it. So all you repackaging guys out there, you have a broad, bright future, baby. You got fresh bread coming. And it won't break me. I don't lose sleep over that. I know what you guys are doing. I get it. I get it. You need to eat. You need to find your place in the world. I get it. But for the people that want to learn, stop looking to follow attention-seeking people. I promise you the most sincere advice I can give you is that. Because if they had your best interest in mind, if they really wanted to teach because they love what they do and they can do it regardless and make money, they would do it for free. They would do it for free. I promise you they would do it for free. If they were really rich, if they could really make hundreds of thousands of dollars in a day, anytime they want to sit down in front of a chart and do that, they would teach for free. If they were the greatest of all time, they were the GOAT. Instead of showing themselves flying around on an airplane that was paid for by mentorship people paying, they would teach for free. But they need that income. They need that money. They need it. And for the folks who want to know, ICT's only got his model together so he can sell it on ad revenue. You know what I earn a day on ad revenue? You ready for this? You ready? $500 a day. Holy smokes, man alive. I'm getting ready to go down to Virginia and buy a Z06 for $170,000 cash. And I promise you, ad revenue can't pay for that. I promise you it can't, okay? It can't do it. Listen, all the penny pinching, counting, pocket watchers out there, they're always going to come. If you put yourself out there in the world, they're going to come at you too. Because these people are constantly hateful and miserable. If they were profitable, if they knew what they were doing, they don't have time to be negative. There's no point in being negative. If these people are successful traders and they make money, why are they so angry and bitter all the time? I'm walking around like I got Viagra in me every single day. I'm happy about it all. I'm happy when people are making money. I don't care if it's with my stuff or not. It's great when it is, but I love seeing success stories. I love seeing other people do well. I love seeing other people overcompensate, okay, for the weaknesses they hold on to and disarm themselves. So, you know what? I'm not going to hold that anymore. I'm going to put it down. I'm going to start looking at things differently. I'm not going to dwell on the things that I can't do well right now because I know I'm working toward doing it better in the future. And I'm not going to be discouraged by anybody that says otherwise. If your circle of influence, you're letting people into your circle of influence and they're prideful and they're beating their chest and they're the best and they're the GOAT and they can do nobody's be able to do it better than them and blah, blah, blah. And they got a price tag at the end of it. Join my so-and-so. That's a red flag. That's a red flag. That's a sales pitch. And I promise you, a dollar to a donut, that my sales pitch is better. I'm free. I am the definition of free. I don't need to do anything for money. I don't ever need to trade again. I don't ever have to teach anything because I've taught how you're supposed to do this. This lecture that I just gave the last 2 weeks, that was going to be my last public soiree as a educator. I have books coming. And the books will, for my most due diligent following students that have really poured in the time and energy, you don't need to buy these books, I promise you. I don't need your money for it. The only purpose I have by writing them is to simply have it in writing from my own words the right way. Because there's a lot of people out there that have my stuff in books. And it's astonishing to see how many books have been written about me and my work. And largely, they're incomplete. And there is no book out there that teaches it the way I've taught it entirely and what I intend to show. So everything that I have in the books coming is in that YouTube channel. So listen to me when I'm telling you, I'm not trying to make money off of stupid people, which is what the flavor of the month is right now. The flavor of the month right now is keep stupid people entertained long enough to make money off of them. That's it. That's what's going on right now. To me, that's shocking. It's disgusting. And frankly, it's short-lived. I promise you it's going to fall quick. So you have a choice. You can either waste your time and following people like that really don't have your genuine best interest at heart. You're a commodity to them. I'm talking right now on a Saturday where I could be fishing. I could be spending time with the 2 puppies I still have that are here with me. I could be shopping. I could be doing a number of things with my time. I'm giving you my time, which is so expensive. And I'm even encouraging you to take it and put it on your YouTube channel and monetize it. Where's the logic in that if I'm a broke guy that just wants to make money off of you? Have you ever thought about that Generation Z? Huh? Have you thought about that one? I don't need anything from anyone, but I have a lot to share. And I love doing it because I know I have people in this community that absolutely appreciate the fact that I don't need to do this. And the stuff that I teach works better than anything ever will because I'm teaching you the market. I'm teaching you how the market will behave. I'm telling you when it will not behave properly. In closing, I'm going to ask you, did you pay attention to how NASDAQ December contract traded on Friday? Did you happen to notice that? Did you happen to notice what the daily high was and what the daily low was? Did you happen to notice that? Did you happen to notice that it was an inside day? It was not able to find its way below Thursday's low or above Thursday's high. Did you happen to notice that? Did you log it? Did you notice anything in particular about why it stopped at those levels? What else appeared intraday at those levels? What was useful information in? If you missed it, I got it for you Sunday. Sunday night, I'm going to post a review. So that way you got it. And we'll start afresh on Monday. But over the past 3 decades, I've enjoyed being many personas on the internet. And I have been accused of things that I didn't do. I've been called the greatest of all time. I'm not. I have been accused of, well, there was a time when actually they were trying to say I was copying somebody else when I was on Internet Relay Chat, Merck back then. There was a guy that was trying to make a name for himself, and there was a way for you to copy. Whenever someone posted, you could copy that post in other chat areas immediately. So it's like copying an instant message. Okay. And the fact that that was going on, this man who lived in New York, he had a short little stint and sold stuff on the internet and whatever, did commercials and whatnot. But he was basically trying to say that I copied him until I started sitting down and calling the S&P live with a 90% accuracy every single day, every morning session, every single day. And he never could live up to that after that. See, I'm the type of guy, if someone says those types of things, I'm going to come out there and crush that. Because I understand the privileged position I'm in. I have a privilege that's been given to me. I have a position that was not earned, but admittedly, in the beginning, I wasn't the greatest ambassador with it. And greed tapped me on the shoulder, and I was not going to share this. I was not going to. But you know who he is. He leans on you and says, remember the bargain that you had here? I do this, then you do that, right? Remember that? Remember that part that you do that in response to me doing that for you? And, he has a way of persuading you. Let's just say it that way. And I'm glad now, looking back, that I have done it. But I can be honest and tell you that I knew that there'd be a great deal of people out there repackaging it and rebranding it and running with it, pretending that they didn't learn it from me or one of my students, and create these little, real quick boutique shop businesses where they're selling the idea of explaining the left side of the chart. And I have students that have matured past that because a lot of them started that way. And now some of them are, in social media, they're some of the best analysts right now. And you know who they are. They stand out. The ones that do very, very well. And they don't hide their losses. They don't hide their shortcomings or their frailty. And they call out BS when they see it. And they're not defenders of me. They're just who they are. They learn from me. They use the concepts. They don't hide from it. And I got a great deal of respect for that. Even if they don't like me personally as a man because they got hung up on the marketing side. This is the real me. This is who I am. If you were coming over my house on Monday back in the 90s and I was teaching you, this is exactly how I talked. There was no flamboyance. There was no ego. I ate pizza just like the guys next to me, sitting on my couch, watching my big screen TV that I was renting at the time. How about that? It was rent to own anyway, though. But that's what you did back then. You did things like that when you were coming up. And I was teaching before I was ready to teach, but I had that desire to teach. I wanted to teach. I wanted to. There's a young man that reached out to me in email yesterday. Scott, I know you're probably listening. His dad was actually preaching the night I got the Holy Ghost and was born again. And he was one of the guys that used to also come over my home. And because I was hiding from a gold digger, he saw how I was living and understood this doesn't make any sense. You're able to do this, and this is what you're living like this. And It's because I made a mistake as a young man. I let arrogance and conceit and wanting to be wanted by the opposite sex because I was hurt. All these things are detrimental to trading. So for some of you thinking, what's this got to do with anything? If you're a male, this has everything to do with you. If you're young, if you're single, this is how you're going to crash out. This is how it's going to happen. Because if you get a taste of success, you get some money, you become new money. You think you can do anything to whoever you want to do it to. Yeah, I can sleep with that woman. I don't have to have a relationship with her. Yeah, I can do that with that girl. I know she's got a boyfriend. I know she's married. But she wants it. She can get it. That's what a young ICT was doing. And it finally happened. I caught one that knew something more about me than I knew that she knew. And Cody is the result of that. And she told me straight up, I'm taking you to the bank. Her husband said that they both were taking me to the bank. So what's a man like me going to do? I'm going to lose it all. I'm going to lose it all and live way below my means and deliver pizza. And when we got to mediation, there was nothing she could do. And I lived under the radar for a number of years. And Scott, you know that's the facts. And you were there watching it happen. And humble beginnings is how I started. But I've always had this passion to teach. I've always wanted to teach. I taught martial arts. I taught things that people would get in a lot of trouble knowing how to do today as a young man. And the market was no different. As I learned, I was like, man, this is amazing. I want other people to know this because you don't learn this in school. You don't learn this in university. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now. My stuff has gone so far and broad. I am waiting for colleges to start talking about these concepts when it comes to markets, finance, all these things. Because if you're in uni and you're ever studying those types of things, like my uncle, who actually was one of the biggest inspirations to me learning how to trade, the influence he had over me when I was younger, because I wanted to be like him. You know, he was, in my opinion, successful. He had his own home, 2 cars. He got paid good money, and he had gone to college, but he didn't quite complete it. He had to complete it while he was working at KFC as a manager because he got laid off at Westinghouse. So he lost his really good high-paying job. But it didn't deter me in looking at him as a mentor, as a person of significant influence over me. And what he was describing when he was going through school, and his major was finance, business administration, specializing in finance. And he came out very book smart, but when it came to trading, it was like this barrier, this wall where he couldn't see it. He could not see it. Still to this day, he can't see it. And I'm sure it's a great deal of frustration for him. And that's what I'm trying to spare you from. Because I know a lot of you want to be contrarian to whatever I say. You want to do it opposite. So that way, if I say something, if I say gold's going to go lower, or gold's going to go higher, or Bitcoin's going to go to whatever, this and that, whatever, you want to immediately go to your demo account and do the opposite. And so that way you can go on the internet and say, ICT said this, and this is my trade. So you can have your 5 seconds of fame. It's always been like that. I'm not the only person that's ever happened to. Anybody with a voice in any industry, there's always going to be somebody that want to try to compare and contrast for attention. But my uncle was a perpetual contrarian, and he held true to retail concepts. And I was trying to explain to him. I said, Uncle Stan, listen, man, I'm making real money here. I'm making what you make in a year in 3 days. Can you show me how your RSI, how that and the stochastic and the CCI and the moving average crossover, and the last time it did this in your body, and this part of your body ached, and all these signs you're talking about. Can you please tell me what you think is going to happen tomorrow? Well, I don't know. I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about it. And then once it happens the next day, he's like, I knew it. I knew it. I said, do you see what's going on, Stan? Do you see what's going on? You don't know what you're doing, but you're deceiving yourself. You're spending time with the what if. And you know that if it goes up, it might go to that level. But if you're wrong, it could go here. And here I told you that soybeans is going to do this tomorrow. It's going to go right there tomorrow. It's not going to go down there. And here I made $12,000 real money. And you didn't make any more money than what your job's going to pay you. And you're wrong about your outlook on the marketplace. And I would do it day after day after day. And he got mad. He just frustrated. And it wasn't long after that. He said, listen, when you moved in here, it was just to get your feet on the underneath you, not to get rich. Okay. And I moved out. I didn't live there for free. Whatever they asked for, I would have paid. But if that's a family member and they're not willing to see it, they want to argue against it. Why are you surprised that other people out there that have a monetary reason behind why they want to stand in front of you learning this? Or hide the fact that they're teaching what I taught and rebranding it? Why are you surprised by that? You shouldn't be surprised. It's human nature. And the people that have succeeded under me are the people that say, you know what? I've heard a lot of things about this guy. He said a lot of things and he didn't do it. There's a reason not to believe him. But when I sit down and I talk to you sincerely and I take a strip away all the image, I do it for fun. I tear down and blaze up, not in a good way. I burn Inner Circle Trader down over and over and over again. And he can keep rising back up like a phoenix. Why? Because I know what I'm doing. It's all orchestrated. It's all part of it. It's a filtering process. If you're so hung up on hero worship, you're not going to pay attention to the things you should be paying attention to. You want to be able to talk about you're part of this community and nobody can say anything bad about you. And that's the wrong perspective. You're not here to have everybody agree with you. That's what retail logic is. Everybody agreeing. Find a retail trader in the crowd in any live stream. They're going to ask, are we going up? Is it time to buy? What's the next move, ICT? What's the next thing? Where's it going to go next week? That's retail logic right there. Not, wow, we just pegged this market. We just pegged it to the tick. It literally followed the script like a dog being walked on a leash, a very, very taut, short leash, mind you. Relish in that. Savor that. What you just witnessed the last 2 weeks, nobody else was doing that. Nobody else was doing that. That's not arrogance. That's not pride. It's simply just stating the facts that you are witnessing the truisms behind the marketplace. Why does this market behave the way it does? Why does it go where it goes? It's not random. And if you can appreciate the level of consistency and continuity and precision that what I'm teaching displays, not just once in a while, whenever I'm talking about it. Whenever I'm talking about it, it says, yes, sir. As you say, sir. Why is that? Why is it? Why is it that that happens all the time? Is it luck? Am I influencing everybody on the internet to buy or short at the same time and all get out at the same price? Because that's impossible. We all can't get the same fill. We all can't get it. But maybe, just maybe, And this is a stretch, and I understand I'm really reaching with this one, but maybe, just maybe, there's something going on that I talked about that exists, that's premeditated, that's algorithmic, it's scripted. Maybe, just maybe, there's something to that. I know, but hear me out. Hear me out. Just give me a chance. Just maybe it'll keep working. Just maybe next week these things will work. Just perhaps, maybe, no guarantee, right? No guarantee, but maybe Monday it might work too. Wait. And maybe it won't ever stop. Have you considered that? Have you considered that? Have you considered the lack of statistical probability and continuity that all retail logic has shown and fallen short and fallen on its face, regardless of who uses it, whatever mode of operation of analysis concept, it's short in delivering. It does not have the signatures of precision that you see in this. It does not. If we were standing in court and I had to say, no, let me show you why this is what I believe is what's going on. I have a plethora of evidence now in public domain where people literally watch me call this stuff live to the tick. On every time frame, second charts, minute charts, 15-minute charts, hourly charts, 4-hour charts, daily charts, weekly charts. The yearly range, when is it going to start moving, ICT? Where'd you just come from? The market's been crap. You come back on a very specific day and just suddenly, the market just suddenly comes back to life like a fresh breath of air. Breathe it in. Whew, how sweet it is. What's going on, ICT? Turn that switch on, baby. I did. I did. And you all seen it. Y'all feel it now, don't you? It feels good to be in the in crowd, doesn't it? It feels good to be in the crowd that knows what's up. No retail logic implied. No retail logic leaned upon. You have at your fingertips the greatest advantage in modern technology as it relates to finance, trading, and speculation. And it's cost you no money. How can you compare this to anything else? You can't. It has no equal. It has no rival. It has nothing greater than it. And it's perfection. It's perfect. It's too good, to quote Larry Williams, it's too good for the book. That's why I did it in front of all of you. I told you what the market's going to do. I had people literally behind a paywall watching me do this every single day. Every single day. This is what the cable market's going to do. This is what the dollar index is going to do. This is what the euro dollar is going to do. This is what this is going to do. Every day, just like that, over and over, over and over, over and over, over and over. And still I had people. But you don't do this, ICT. You don't tell us when to buy. You don't tell us where to put a stop loss. So that, to me, confirms you're a fraud. Oh, man. And it still happens today. It still happens today. The whole point of this is if you spend time watching and studying, you will see your model. You will see your entry technique. The very PD array that jumps off at the chart. Every time you sit down and watch price action, the one that just jumps off, I don't see order blocks. I don't see fair value gaps. There's too many of them. I don't know which one to use. Okay, well, look at the quadrants in the surrounding inefficiencies and wicks, because they're going to build a grid. Okay, there's going to be a grid that's formed on your chart where time and price, that gradient level, and a PD array agree. You have a winning friggin' trade. Guaranteed, baby. Guaranteed, or money back. Challenge it. Don't take my word for it. Go into your charts and see it, because it's there every day. Every day. You don't need to subscribe to these signal service hawkers. These people are stupid. They go and they pay for something that's for free. You could be sitting there every single day carving out your own paycheck, whatever you want to make. Who's going to say you can't make it today? Who? Nobody can say it. But in your mind, you're saying, well, I might not be able to do it. I believe you. If you say you can't do it, I believe you. But if you say you can, I really believe you. I really believe you. Because I do it. I got students that listen and they do it. They're making annual salaries every 4 weeks of a doctor, of a surgeon. Over, 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 over again. They're not selling mentorships. They're not hawking anything on social media. They tap in once in a while, every 6 months, maybe 9 months or a year. Hey, Michael, hey, this is where I'm at. I just can't thank you enough. This is amazing. It's exactly like you said it was. And I'm off to do this. I'm off to do there. My wife and I are doing this. My children, I'm putting my kids in college. I just bought this house. I bought that house. I built this. I built that. They're living. And they're not living on social media, but they're living in the really real world. They don't care who believes in me. They don't care if there's an algorithm or not, because they're using it. They are using it every day, every week, every day, and it will not ever, ever, ever stop. Where do you get that guarantee from in all your dollar mentor mentorships? You don't get that. You don't get that guarantee. You don't get it because they can't perform it. They can't walk it. They can't live it, but they can sure as hell talk about it in the left side of their chart for just a low down payment of $300 a month. Ha! Prove your worth. Prove it. You want our money? You better earn it. How many's out there really doing that? You're looking for them, aren't you? I heard this guy out there really good at signals. Okay. Call it. Call it. Do it live. Give it away for a month or two for free. Open, live streamed. With the lowest latency, with a regulated broker, and then maybe you got a voice. Then maybe you have something that people can investigate, look into, see if there's any worth to it. But I'm here to tell you, that's only going to get you so far. That's only going to reward impatience, because you're trying to go in there and try to trade with money before you're ready. How could you have that much faith in someone that's unproven, that you don't know? You've never had dinner with this person. You've never met their family. You don't know what things are going on in their life behind the scenes. You don't know. You don't know. But you're going to give this person money with the expectation and faith that they're going to give you a signal in the marketplace that's going to yield you a profitable outcome. What? But you don't have 1/4 of that measure of faith in yourself on learning how to do this on your own? What an insult. What an absolute insult that is to you yourself. How can you look at yourself in the mirror and see someone that is prepared to trade profitably? You're literally giving a stranger more faith than you hold in your own ability to learn how to do this. That's shocking to me. That's shocking to me. All it takes is a little bit of coordination and repurposing that faith into yourself. That's all it takes. Saying, this person might be profitable. This person may run a service that has signals or teaches really well. They may be able to do that. They may be able. I'm sure there's somebody out there that's doing it. But why